Hello and welcome back to the All Out Fighting YouTube channel. You join me, Martin Dunman, and this, Rich Jones, after a very, very exciting weigh-in. We did not, I'll be honest, Rich, expect it. After the press conference on Wednesday, Tyson said very little. Jake Paul was doing all the talking. We thought, actually, this could be another boring event, but no. So in fact, just take us through it, Rich. Take us through what happened.
Yeah, well, we were stood here 24 hours ago, weren't we, talking about how we just wanted to see something, anything from Mike Tyson. And then, yeah, they do their weigh-in, obviously, tonight, ceremonial weigh-in, weighed in earlier today. And then, yeah, obviously, Jake Paul came up to the scales, put on a bit of a show. Mike Tyson came up to scales. And as Jake Paul was just waiting on that side of the stage for them to face off, he sort of got onto all fours, almost like crawled towards Mike Tyson, got up in his face, and then split second later, Mike Tyson throwing a right hand and slapping him across the face. And yeah, obviously being dragged away, it all kicked off. And yeah, your typical sort of weigh-in handbags, but yeah, all sort of came to life finally, which is what we were just sort of waiting to happen, talking about how we hoped it'd happen yesterday. So
yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to process a little bit. 58-year-old Mike Tyson
slapping 27-year-old YouTuber Jake Paul.
You know, I'm just, as we said, it was very uneventful. In fact, it's been uneventful all week. It wasn't really what we expected. Do we think, you mentioned how Jake Paul sort of crawled towards Tyson, sprang up, and maybe it was just those reflexes, that sort of fight or flight situation, or was it that actually we were wrong at the press conference and Mike Tyson, he wasn't bored, but actually he's in some sort of zone and ready to go?
Yeah, potentially, or would the cynics say that he's been told he needs to do his bit to sell this fight a bit more?
You're too young to be so cynical.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, I guess for whatever reason, maybe some of these things have been getting under his skin. Maybe, all the stuff from Jake Paul has been getting to him. And yeah, it just took that little flashpoint to sort of get him to snap. I guess that's what everyone's sort of been waiting for that to happen, haven't they, until now? And yeah, finally happened. And certainly makes things interesting for tomorrow night.
Certainly does. Ariel Helwani tried to get a word with Mike Tyson. He got two. In fact, I think it's time. No.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that was it. And then
Something
he asked
like
him
that.
why he slapped him, and he just off stage, he walked off. Yeah, got even less words out of Mike Tyson than he got yesterday, didn't he, Ariel? Hasn't had much success with him in the last couple of days.
No, Jake Paul at least did say a few words. I think he ended by saying he wants to. Mike Tyson's going to die. He's going to kill him. It's probably not going to happen. We'll come on to the fight in a minute. But what I hope it means is that we're actually going to get a fight tomorrow night. And as theatrical as this is, whether it's real on the night or not, they just carry this on, and actually Jake takes the fight to Mike, as he said he will do for about 8 months now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we've been saying, isn't it? We want him to go and take the fight to him. I think we know Mike Tyson's only sort of way to win is going to be to try and take the fight to Jake Paul. And obviously, as we said a couple of days ago, Jake Paul probably wants to use his speed and get around him. But I think hopefully something like this, makes it a real flashpoint, makes it that they'll come and meet each other in the middle of the ring, and we'll get to see an interesting fight. Yeah, it's sort of all come to life a little bit the last couple of hours after being a pretty subdued week.
Absolutely. We did in fact weigh in yesterday morning. We got the results in the evening. Jake Paul actually a little bit heavier than we expected, 227.2 pounds. Mike Tyson 228.4 pounds. Actually, at any point in his career, actually a good weight, but certainly a good weight, 58 years of age. Paul, 200 pounds he's been campaigning at, so he's put on, we're talking 27 pounds, so over almost 2 stone in weight for this. Could that affect him in the fight? Could that slow him down?
I don't think so. I think if it was against someone else that was his age, maybe. Obviously I think he'd be a little bit slower, a little bit more sluggish, maybe would have an impact if he was fighting someone of a similar age. But as we sort of alluded to after the open workouts, it's already not really an even playing field in terms of their athleticism, their speed, their agility. So, I think the minor difference that those sort of 20 pounds or whatever will make, 30 pounds to make, is probably not going to be the end of the world for him. Yeah, obviously, the weights are probably a bit closer than I thought, but I don't think it'll make too much difference in that regard. And yeah, I think we've sort of got ready for a fight now, aren't we? I think every sort of little hurdle has been cleared, and there's no doubt that we're going to be seeing a fight tomorrow night now.
Yeah, that's it. Mike Tyson will indeed be back in the ring, past all his medicals, for what that is worth. So we're a few hours away now. When you take your seat at AT&T Stadium, the first bell goes. Jake Paul one corner, Mike Tyson the other. What do you see happening? How does it look?
I hope they come and meet each other in the middle of the ring, and we get a good scrap. I think in reality, even though he's been talking a good game, I think Jake Paul's he's switched on, isn't he? He's a smart guy. I think he'll know that his best way to win the fight is to get into the later rounds. If he is going to try and knock out Mike Tyson, in reality that probably is going to be further down the line. For Mike Tyson, I'm sure he's going to go hunting, going to go out there and try and put it on him early on and try and make life uncomfortable for him, show his power. But yeah, I think the smart move for Jake Paul is probably going to be to sort of try and slow the fight down. Not slow it down, sort of force the pace in terms of movement, but probably not going to be wise to go toe to toe and trade with him in the middle of the ring early on. And if he is going to sort of put it on Mike Tyson, it's probably going to come in the later rounds, I think.
It's been said often enough that Jake Paul can't really win this fight, because if he knocks out Mike Tyson, he's knocked out a 58-year-old icon and people will hate him for that. And if he loses the fight, well, he's lost to 58-year-old Mike Tyson. But he's just not someone who really cares about that. I mean, we saw he came in to the weigh-in and was booed. He will probably be booed later on tonight. Does he really care if he's hated for knocking out Mike Tyson?
Absolutely not. And also, I think you've got to give him credit, haven't you? I think even though people don't like it, he's controversial. But ultimately, he's made this for himself, really. Obviously, he needs a dance partner, and Mike Tyson doesn't get much bigger than that. But he's sort of put this event together. He's who would have thought this was possible sort of 5-10 years ago, something like this? No one would have ever expected this to be a thing. Mike Tyson was asked it at the press conference, or at the open workouts. One of the few sentences we've got out of him this week is that he never in a million years thought he'd be fighting this guy. I think you've got to give Jake Paul credit for getting to this point, and love him or hate him, he doesn't mind. He's put this together. He's going to be making a lot of money as long as he wins and doesn't have to hand it all over to Katie Taylor. So yeah, I don't think he's going to care too much about the reception.
And the final prediction?
I'm sticking with Jake Paul on points. I think. What about you?
I think that's very possible, and that's the big fear, that the fight actually is really boring. There's a lot of holding, and it's 16 minutes. It's not long. It's not a long time. And if Mike Tyson just tries to hold and Jake Paul gets frustrated and the referee doesn't let them get at it, then yes, I can see a points win for Jake Paul, which really would be no one wins in that case. But I actually think Jake Paul will get to him eventually, and when he does, maybe rounds 5, 6, 7, starts trying to throw punches together, the referee, if he sees Mike Tyson get hurt, I think he'll step in, wave it off. You sort of leaves a little bit of a question. Mike Tyson will probably say, I was fine, let's do it again. Jake Paul gets his stoppage win, gets the viral moment, if you like. But yeah, I think either of those two, probably what we will see. Before Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, we will see Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. We should mention that best fight on the card, 2.5 years since they did it, first time Madison Square Garden. Quick prediction for that one?
I think it's going to be another thriller. They're both talking about doing it all again, and obviously we saw the bad blood with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul with the slap. I think with Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor, it's the complete opposite, isn't it? They both have got so much respect for each other. Two absolute legends of the game, and two icons really in women's boxing. They've done incredible things for women's boxing, and I think they both recognise the platform they've got here, and I think they're both determined to go and put out a show like they did at Madison Square Garden. I think it's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? We talked about it a little bit. Katie Taylor sort of 38 now, I think, and obviously had those two fights against Chantel Cameron, which were really tight fights. We lost one, got revenge in the rematch, but a sort of slightly contentious one. Amanda Serrano hasn't really fought anyone of the sort of calibre of opponent as Katie Taylor since last time. I think my heart would say Katie Taylor, but my head, I think Amanda Serrano might just nick it.
Can't disagree. I think if Amanda Serrano is as she was 2 years ago, I'm not sure Katie will be. Therefore, Amanda Serrano takes it. Maybe we see a third, or maybe they both retire, one each, and both go down as legends of the sport. That's all from the weigh-in, eventful as it was. Keep across All Out Fighting and of course Mirror Fighting on our social media for the rest of this week, and of course for the fight itself.